We are back with some board game news. Today we're going to cover 3 sort of new announcements, new things that have been happening that I think are all noteworthy. They're all publishers that we've worked with in the past or experienced. But we're going to start off with something from Paverson Games. They just announced this on Thursday of this week when we recorded this. It's a new game called Class of 89. This is... Paverson
awesome.
doesn't have a long catalog of games to look at, but they Distilled
and then
Luthier, 2 very different games. I'd say Distilled, I would put in the medium weight.
They're different, but there is the tying together. I would say the way that Paverson Games pays attention to the thematics.
Oh, well, sure.
So both of those games
That's true.
were very, very thematic.
But played very, very differently.
Gameplay differently, but I think what I'm seeing from them, if this trend continues, and spoiler alert, we've seen a little bit about Class of 89.
Yes, we'll show you in a second. We have some exclusive imagery to share.
They're continuing that, leaning in 100%. Everything about this game feels 80s.
Yeah, now, this is from a designer of another upcoming game called Sandart. And it sounds like they say that it's medium in weight. I would say this is probably true. I would say it's probably lighter than the other 2 games. Lighter than
Distilled and Luthier, I would say
that. It sounds like. We don't know much in the way of details, but it sounds like it's in the medium to medium light range, at least within their catalog. Sure. And it's Class of 89, so it's going to embrace the theme of 1989, which, by the way, almost hits me on the... I'm Class of 88.
I was a toddler.
You were maybe not born then.
I was born, but...
But it's going to play with a lot of properties, a lot of things that they get close to. But in the game, you're basically trying to build out the best yearbook. And as you can see with these images right here, now, it must be said, the images that we're showing, these are very, very early, very prototype, but these kind of give you an idea of some of the direction they're going with at least some of the cards in the game. These are going to be people that you're adding to the pages of your yearbook. There's going to be some things you have to do to sort of order them. You need to put them alphabetically. There's other icons and tags that are going to be sort of grouping them by clubs and stuff like that. This sounds like an organizational game where you're trying to basically collect these photos, maybe some other things, and put them in your yearbook to score as many points as you possibly can. The fun thing here is, if you look at these characters closely, there certainly takes some inspiration from some classic characters of yesteryear.
Pop culture for sure.
80s, maybe spilling a little over into the 90s since we're talking 1989, because I see some
maybe 90s references.
Characters that maybe had the first cell phone on television, things like that. But it looks like a lot of fun. And again, like Ryan said, very different thematic game for Paverson, but thematic nonetheless.
I'll say that as of now, I am going to be 100% all in on anything Paverson does, because they've got, for me at least, 2 incredible games. I thought Distilled was incredible. Luthier's coming out later this year, or soon this year, and that is absolutely incredible as well. I did see the final version of Gamma, and it just... Oof.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. The prototype was quite nice of...
Yeah, I don't expect Class of 89 to be at the same level that Distilled and Luthier are. I don't think it... I'm not picturing it as a big... You think it's going to be a big table hog, giant game?
I don't know that it'll be as big a table hog, but
production-wise,
has always done a great job with production for sure. So yeah, we're looking forward to seeing this. The next thing we wanted to talk about is a brand new piece of news that you may have just heard about, or you might be hearing about it first here.
Hopefully you're hearing about it first
here. That is an expansion for Isofarian Guard. This is from Sky Kingdom Games, and if you're familiar with the game, it was quite successful. I think they've at least run 1 campaign, if not more than that.
For the reprint.
I know they've reprinted it, and that's all sold out already too, so it has quite a following. It's got really good critical acclaim. We touched this game way back.
A long time ago.
It feels like forever ago. We're talking 2018, 2019.
I still remember meeting Eric for the first time, and he had this grand vision for Isofarian Guard. And I think, to a certain point, you're like, okay, can you pull this off? And he did.
It seems like he has.
Pulled it off.
I remember too.
Love it.
When we met him, I was like, well, he's got a lot of big dreams.
It sounded ambitious the way he talked about it, and it's going to be fully voice acted, and and it's great. All of that was it all made it into the package.
Yeah.
And just absolutely killed it on crowdfunding.
Yeah, so this game, the expansion adds a couple things. We don't have all the details, but what we can tell you, it adds 2 new guards, Ray and Luca, if we're pronouncing those correctly. But it also, it streamlines a lot of things. So it sounds like there's a lot of quality of life improvements based on some feedback that they've taken. But also mechanically, it sounds like one of the big things is, so there is some bag building in the original game.
That's still there.
That's still there, but this adds a deck building element to the game. We don't know all the details, but there's deck building, which is always music to our ears. Not to mention, it sounds like when you're playing your cards, you're playing them into sort of this grid orientation. So there's this positional thing, maybe.
That's how they described it.
You play these cards, and then the enemy is not only attacking you, but they can kind of do things to mess up with your grid.
And add cards to your grid, too. Add negative cards to your grid. Now, we don't know how that grid works exactly. No. We talked to Tarek a little bit, but it sounds cool. Anytime you're going to add deck building and bag building, it's a very interesting
to this
facet.
To a game of this scope, right? You're bringing in a lot of mechanics that we're fans of from a Euro standpoint. But bringing it into a big epic sort of adventure game is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, take a look for that. That is coming to crowdfunding in June, I believe, but we'll have the details down in the description for all of this stuff, by the way, if you're wondering. In fact, the first one is actually, interestingly enough, direct to retail, class of 89.
That is
It is not going to crowdfunding, so they're going to have a pre-order on their website. Again, all the details down below. The last thing we wanted to talk about, this was
not
announced.
Even a board game.
It was it is not technically. He's right. It's not exactly a board game, but it is based on a board game. They announced it last week, and that is Frosthaven, the digital implementation of Frosthaven. I mean, everyone probably knew this was coming, but a few things you didn't know is one, the beta launched on Thursday, the 27th of March.
It's live right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a time period on that. We do have a code. We haven't had a chance to jump in to take a look at it, but we will. Other notable thing here, developed by Snapshot Games, and that's a studio led by, from what we're told, the creator of XCOM.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision, I guess, to move to a different publisher, different designer. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense because I don't know that you could just build on Gloomhaven. I mean, Frosthaven does use the Gloomhaven card system to an extent. There's so much more happening.
There is more to it.
In Frosthaven. And I think you probably would have had to reprogram the entire engine anyway. So maybe I guess they just went with somebody they trusted here. But from all accounts, like, it looks like it's going to be really cool.
I'm sure it will be. We'll jump in and try to get some footage, hopefully in time for when we edit this video, so you can actually see maybe a little of it.
I'd love to, because if I'm being honest, and don't take away my board game credit here, I've played way more Gloomhaven digital than I ever have played physical.
I mean, to be fair, I've not played either too much at all.
I played a lot of the digital app.
With that said, from what I've heard of the digital app, a lot of people are like you in that they've played Gloomhaven far more digitally than they did at the table.
It just makes sense to play. If you're playing, so I played solo, I've played with a few friends, I've played with some people in the MVM Discord over the course of the years, and it came out like mid-pandemic or like right around that same time. So like,
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was something I played quite a bit, and still do have a deep love for that system. Frosthaven was almost too much for me. Like,
oh really?
Well, there's just so much for Frost. So I was like kind of looking forward to it. I don't have any inside information here, but I kind of like just knew that this was coming. Like, everybody, I think, kind of was like, well, yeah, this is an obvious choice.
I mean, the first digital implementation was really successful.
Oh yeah,
so there's no reason why they wouldn't do this on the.
I feel like I can finally enjoy Frosthaven instead of it being. It takes all the tedium out of it for me.
I'm going to dip my toes into it for sure. I haven't been a huge player of either of the games, although I admire and respect them. But those are the 3 bits of news that we wanted to share this week. We're going to try to bring a little bit more news segments back to the channel.
We like doing this.
I enjoy doing it. It's fun to just to speculate about things. All of these things, we kind of knew some details. And I didn't want to speculate too much because the first 2, they did share some information. So I didn't want to mislead you by saying, here's some other interesting thing, and have you wonder, is that speculation or does he know something?
I don't know, but I can speculate that I'm going to be playing way too much of the Frosthaven app.
Oh, wow. That's what a nice segue to a closer.
Let's bring it back.
Anyway, if you have any questions about any of these things, let us know in the comments below. Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.